In our first video, we briefly introduced the student audit, but didn't tell you much other than it being a checklist. That wasn't enough. So instead of leaving it to your wild imagination, we decided to dedicate a whole video to explore this part of DegreeWorks and how it can help you. So, let's take a trip. To understand how this component works, we casually sent one of our valued DegreeWorks specialists into space. Yeah, we know. But after much convincing and a checklist in hand, they agreed to help us demonstrate how an audit is run. In today's adventure, we'll be searching for the classes on our checklist using the various items that we find on the planet. Once we're done scavenging, we'll collect all of our findings and head back to the lab for further analysis. If a match is found, then a green check mark will be shown next to the course. This lets us know that you completed the course in all of its entirety and have fulfilled the requirement of the audit. In the next case, if a plant is still growing or a course is currently being taken, then one blue curved line will show up in the box next to the course. Also note that this status will apply for courses that you enroll into for the next semester. And finally, if a plant is unable to be located, then a red box will show up next to the course. But don't worry, we're always checking. In some cases, you might come across something that just doesn't belong on your audit. Accuracy is very important to us, so if you come across an issue, feel free to visit the Registrar's DegreeWorks Center in Schuster Hall, room 103. We'll take care of you. Now that you have a better understanding of what the audit is, let's see how it works here down on Earth. First, log on to DegreeWorks. If you're unsure how, visit our first video for an in-depth guide. Once you've logged in, you'll be warped to your DegreeWorks audit page by default. At the top of the audit, you'll see general information about yourself, such as your EMPL ID, name, and major. All this information is pulled from CUNY First, so if you see a discrepancy between what you see on CUNY First and what you see on DegreeWorks, come into the registrar and we'll be able to help you out. As a side note, if you've made any changes on CUNY First, then it takes 24 to 48 hours for DegreeWorks to update. So sometimes it's as simple as a timing issue. If we look a little lower, we'll see the Legend tab. This tab will define all the little icons that are associated with your classes and your requirements. Half a scroll beneath the legend is the Student View. This tab is populated with the students' general information as well as a summary of their academic standing. The Degree tab lists every requirement that needs to be met in order for your degree to be earned. If a requirement on this tab is not yet met, then a proxy advice is detailed on the right explaining what you need to do to satisfy this requirement. Every single one of these boxes need to be checked off in order for us to award you your degree. The only requirement that isn't mandatory is the minor requirement. Minors are optional, so you can take one if you wish, but it's not required for your degree. The College Option tab lists all of your LEH and foreign language requirements. These requirements will vary based on the amount of credits or degree that you bring to Lehman College. Make sure to speak to your general advisor to figure out what college option courses apply to you. It's a general requirement that you take at least 2 writing intensive courses here at Lehman College. Any course with the writing intensive attribute will populate here. Next is your Major tab. This tab pulls the major coded in your CUNY First and lists all the requirements under it. If your major has a concentration, it will also populate all its requirements below. If we look closer to the Major tab, all the way to the right, you'll notice something called Catalog Year. All the requirements listed down below will reflect the current catalog that you are following. The year is determined on the day that you declared your major. Your major GPA is listed on the header as well. A 2.0 GPA is the minimum requirement for most majors, but not all. Majors such as the DFN require a 3.0 GPA to be maintained in their first option, while a 2.5 in their second option. These GPAs must be maintained or students run the risk of being dropped from their DFN program. Information like this is always available on our website, so be sure that you're aware of all things relevant to your program. It's also good to meet with your advisor to discuss things like this. It never hurts. And it's definitely better to hear about this early than in your last semester. Notice that one of the requirements of your major is major credits in residency. In a nutshell, half of the credits applying to your major must be taken at Lehman College. So if your major requires 60 credits, 30 of those credits have to be taken at Lehman. This will also apply to your minor and the total amount of credits towards your degree. If we zoom in a tad bit more into the major tab, we have the listing of all the requirements that need to be met for the major. And if you're not sure what you need to take, then the proxy advice always has your back. If a course you transferred in satisfies a requirement, then it will replace a proxy advice like this. And finally, underneath the audit are the general elective credits allowed for your degree. All the courses that you transferred into Lehman will be listed here. Electives that were not allowed and courses with insufficient grades can be found here as well.